Okay, there we are. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hi. Good evening, everyone. My name is Hannah, and I'm an event coordinator here at Politics and Prose bookstore. Just a few things before we get started. If you could all take a moment to silence your cell phones, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. And eventually, when we transition to the audience question portion of this event, we ask that you line up at the standing microphone in front of the white column right over there. And if you're unable to stand for any reason and wish to ask a question during the Q&A, please just raise your hand and let us know, and we will walk a mic over to you. Tonight, I am excited to welcome Nia Sioux, celebrating the release of her new book, Bottom of the Pyramid, a memoir of persevering, dancing for myself, and starring in my own life. Nia Sioux has been entertaining the world since she was 9 years old and is continuing to grow and evolve as a performer, singer, actress, author, entrepreneur, and social justice advocate. Nia's most recent projects include starring in the Lifetime original movie Imperfect High, as well as her critically acclaimed original Facebook Watch series Dance with Nia, which she executive produced. In 2021, Nia also released her first children's book, Today I Dance. Nia believes in the importance of being a positive role model and encourages kids to star in their own lives, which is a message that is very dear to her. Nia will be in conversation with Yasmin Cheyenne, a Today Show wellness expert and three-time author whose work helps millions reconnect with who they were before the world had a say. Through 3 books with HarperCollins, the Sugar Jar, Wisdom of the Path, and the Comeback Era, she's become the trusted guide for creating a life that feels as good as it looks. An Air Force veteran, TEDx speaker, and mother of 2, Yasmin proves that whether you're setting boundaries, navigating challenges, or ready for your comeback, transformation is always possible. Please join me in welcoming Nia Sioux and Yasmin Cheyenne.
Oh my, thank you. Oh my goodness. Hi. Wow, what a beautiful turnout. Oh my goodness. Thank you all for being here. You all, wow, this is really cool. I couldn't see back there when I first came in. I was like, well, hopefully people are here. And there are. So thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Hi, Nia.
Hi.
We are so excited to be here, and I'm so honored to be having this conversation with you because I think everyone who's here who's watched your career and watched you grow is very aware that you are no longer at the bottom of the pyramid.
Thanks. I'm so happy to be here as well. Thank you, Yasmin.
New York Times best-selling author. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been crazy, and it's been the most amazing journey ever, and I'm so happy I get to share it with all of you and meet all these wonderful faces and be here. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to start off with asking about reclaiming your story. We all have an idea of who you are. We've watched you grow up. Everyone gets to watch you on social media, but I want to hear from you, and I'm sure everybody else does too. What does reclaiming your story mean to you now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's having control over your narrative, really. For me, when I was on Dance Moms, for when I first started, it was so much fun. It was something new. It was something I really wanted to do, and it brought me so much joy. I was a dancer first, and I loved dancing. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to be on stage. I wanted to do all the things. But little by little, I saw that spark kind of fade away. I saw that narrative turn into something that it wasn't. I saw a shift. And then I felt like I lost control over my power and my narrative and my voice in some ways. And throughout the seasons, I kind of got it back. But there were a lot of times where I felt like I didn't have control over what people saw, how people perceived me. And that's really what this book is about, no matter how people see me, I have to be that person for myself, and I have to believe in myself even whenever other people don't, So taking that back, reclaiming the narrative, reclaiming my title, and turning it into something that's positive.
Yeah, I think being the only Black girl or Black person in a situation is hard in any situation. You had to do it on television. when you just mentioned talking about, reclaiming your story, what I really heard was you talking about owning your voice, and really beginning to control and have authority and autonomy over yourself. But I'm wondering, like, you had to do it on TV and you're still doing it as a public figure.
Right.
How has that shaped who you are, like Nia, outside of the spotlight?
Well, I think that because I've lived so much of my life kind of on display, I always kind of felt like I was in a fishbowl with everyone watching. I've had to kind of like and I'm still struggling with this to this day, but I've had to learn to let go of certain things, because as much as I love sharing things, you want to hear reassurance, you want people to like you. And again, for most of my life, as someone who grew up as a people pleaser on a reality show with being a dancer, you have that mindset already. You want to please people, you want to do your best, you want to show up, you want people to think that you're great. But in reality, you don't have control over those things about how people view you. So for me, it's taken a lot of time to kind of, and I'm still, again, it's a work in progress, and there's some days that are better than others. But I would say as a whole, I really do have a good sense of self. No matter what people throw at me, no matter how wild things get online or on a reality TV show, I have a good sense of self, and a really great family to support me as well.
Yeah, your dad is great.
Yeah, Mr. Frazier's over there supporting tonight. But yeah, no, I think a lot of it has to do with my family and just how I was raised as well. Yep, period, yes. And Dr. Holly. She wishes she could be here. But yeah, if it wasn't for my family, I don't know how I would kind of maneuver through all of this, because it's wild and it can get really intense and kind of lonely, especially when you don't have control over how people think of you or what people even say online. But what you can control is how you react, and your emotions, and regulate your emotions. And it's taken time, but I feel like I've come to a place where, I'm pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to get back to that because, I'm in the healing work. So I want to talk a
Yes,
lot
yeah.
about that because this is what this book felt like for me, your story of healing and coming back to yourself. But I'd love to know for a second, what would people be surprised to hear that dance moms taught you that you haven't really talked about? Because I know that yes, it was about dancing. Yes, it was about drama. The show was like it was a reality show, but there was a lot of drama. But what did you learn? Because as I read your book and as I've, I didn't watch Dance Moms.
Yeah.
So for me, I might have been dated out of that show a little bit. For me, when I was going back and going through it, it was shocking. It's shocking when you look back and you realize what was allowed on TV back at that time. It just wouldn't be on today.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm just curious, what did you learn from Dance Moms that maybe we wouldn't think about, or it's something that you rely on day to day that is getting you through in a way that, yes, it might have been bad, or yes, it might have been hard, but it's helped shape you in some way?
Oh, so many things.
Yeah.
I've learned so much from the show, and I take things with me I genuinely use. I didn't realize you were right there. Hi, I'm so sorry. Hello, Queen. Yeah, I genuinely feel like I've taken so much away from the show, good and bad, But some of the things that I've learned throughout the show was to work with a lot of different types of people, and I think that when you grow up in an environment where you're working with kids, you're working with a lot of adults, you're working with the crew, you're working on set, you're traveling, you learn a lot just about office politics, you learn a lot about working with difficult people, you learn about getting to work on, and I'm 9, you know what I mean? So you're learning all this at a very young age, and it's like you learn to show up to work, show up with a positive attitude, do your best. So I'd say that would be one thing. But then I would say, like, on the emotional side for me, I think something that I learned was, I talk about in the book, but well, I mean, it's kind of like the whole overarching thing, but I felt overshadowed a lot. And I learned a way to kind of make my own space for myself. And I also learned how to advocate for myself. And I feel like that's one of the biggest things I learned from the show. But it's not just from the show, it's from my mom. I learned how to advocate from her. But the show was but the show was a great way to exercise my advocacy. And I think that's the reason why I like doing that now. I like to be an advocate for different things, different groups, different projects. I like doing that now, and I like having a voice. And I think it's because I've had a lot of time practicing and showing up for myself and standing up for what's right. And if someone's you know, not having a great day, being there for them. And same for me, if I don't feel comfortable in a situation, speaking up for myself in that situation. And I take that with me every day. I really do. My therapist told me I was an empath, so maybe that has something to do with that. But also, I just feel like taking that and being compassionate towards myself and others, and being that person, being like my own cheerleader, is really important, especially in my adult life, because it's easy to get overlooked. It's easy to kind of like sit back, but it's so much more rewarding when you go out there and you fight for yourself and you fight for other people, and you know, you show up.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you're not a parent yet,
No.
and I known your work before this. I've been, you know, following you and your story for a few years, but I had never watched you on the show. So from somebody who met you on the other side, I know that your mom had to have a really big, your parents had to have, your family had to have a really big impact on you because you are solid.
Yes.
And so I'm wondering now, as an adult, though, you are an adult, even though you're not a parent, what do you think about what your mom had to go through on that show? Because I know she had to bite her tongue and hold it. And that's what I thought watching back in the
Yes,
clips. I'm
yeah.
like, whoo, how did, you know?
Yeah, as an adult looking back at all of those moments, I am in awe of her, genuinely. I just because it's so easy. It is so easy to let people take you out of your character. You know, one bad day and it's like it all goes out the window, you know. So the fact that she kept her composure, the fact that she never cursed once on the show, and there were many times where she
It was
definitely could
valid.
have, where it was valid. She really is a great role model, you know. And as now that I'm an adult, and I look back at things, I'm like, oh, I did not even realize one, all of that was happening, but how that must have affected her. Really, like I don't have kids, but I couldn't imagine how I would feel if someone was talking to my kid that way. So the fact that she continued to be there for me and to be my cheerleader and to advocate for me, even though she didn't necessarily want to be in that situation, she did it all for me. She did it because she loved me and she wanted me to, you know, dance and to have this experience that I really wanted. You know, she came from an education background, you know, and she wasn't in entertainment at all, didn't want to do entertainment, but her daughter wanted to take on this opportunity and she followed me. And I think that now looking back, you know, there's times where I genuinely feel bad. I was like, whew, that's a lot. But also at the same time, I know that she wouldn't want it any other way and she would do it for me all over again, you know? And yeah, she went through a lot, just as much as me, you know what I mean? Dealing with other people talking about her kid, people questioning her character. But I'm really happy that one, she has so many supporters and people saw that and people, you know, you know what I mean? Because we were the only Black family on the show for a majority of the show. And that's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure. People have a lot of opinions. People love
People are ignorant.
People are ignorant. People love to tell us that we didn't love being Black. We didn't know who we are, and it's like we, of all people, truly knew who we were, especially being the only ones. Like, please, we felt it. So going through that together, we we bonded a lot. We trauma bonded a lot, but also we grew and we learned from it. And at the end of the day, it was a lot. But both of us, I feel like we have such a great connection. She's literally my best friend, you know, and we have such a great relationship. And you know, I take that, you know, very seriously, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It reminds me, when I was reading the book, the thing that came to mind, and it's been a lot of talk about it recently, you know the saying, twice as good.
Yes, yes.
And it is, if you don't know the statement, it is something that is often said in the Black community that we have to be twice as good to get half as much. And it relates to obviously us striving for success. And I've always believed that it was created to exhaust us, but it doesn't, because we actually rise from it, right? But when I was reading this story, I was thinking, I don't want Nia to have to rise anymore from this.
Yeah.
Like, I want Nia in her soft era. I want Nia to get a break from this environment and this pattern. Do you feel like you're finally arriving in that moment where you're not having to, where you get to thrive?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think, honestly, I think this book is part of the reason why I have a softer life. I feel like I'm thriving is because I finally got to tell my side of the story, and people listened. I feel like I don't have to work as hard to prove myself, to prove who I am, because people finally have listened. And obviously, I can't reach everyone. I'm not going to change everyone's mind. You know, that's just not how it works. But I'm so grateful for the people who have supported me, all of you who are here. You know, it's the reason why I made it onto the bestseller list, you know? So I feel like, and it's like, you know, I'm always going to have that voice in my head. It's like, okay, you can always do better, you know. But I think that's always gonna be the case. But I am finally kind of like at a place where I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying it, and I don't take any of it for granted. And but yeah, I feel like I finally kind of get to chill out a bit after being worked so hard.
I'm wondering, what would you say to little Nia if you had the opportunity to talk to her?
I think I'd say a lot of things. Honestly, I think little Nia was probably more confident than I am right now.
I love that.
Genuinely, I think like that 9-year-old who started on the show had so much sass, so much confidence. So yeah, so I feel like she could probably give me some advice. But I think some advice that I would probably give baby Nia would to just keep on going no matter what. Because it gets hard, it gets tough, it gets lonely. But to remember why you started. And I think I've kept that with me for a long time. And I think little Nia would like that. And also to know that she is enough, you know, because I think a lot of the times I just never felt like I was enough. And I would want to reassure her that she's enough.
I love that so much. I love that so much.
Thanks.
I had so many notes.
I love that. I love a note taker.
Yes. So I want to talk about your emotions, and you talked in the book about like how, I mean, you had to have a tough skin. There's no way you could have survived that show without a tough skin. There's no way you could be in this business in general without a tough skin. But I want to know how your vulnerability is your superpower now, because this book was incredibly vulnerable. And then having to tour and talk about it and tell the same story and be asked different questions and incredibly vulnerable. So how are you leaning into that as your superpower now?
For sure. Oh, there's a lot of points to that. Okay. I would say for me, it's kind of taken me a while to be vulnerable, just in general, but also to like a large crowd, to an audience. Because for me, I like to be vulnerable on stage when I'm like dancing or acting or whatever. I like to show my emotions through my art. So showing my emotions just through talking and like feeling actually what I'm feeling and not playing a character and being myself, it's very daunting. Um, but I would
You're
say,
doing a good job.
thank you. Um, but for me, being vulnerable, it takes a lot of it takes a lot of courage, but also at the same time, I think what helps me a lot is I know that yes, my story is unique, but it's a lot of people still have very similar experiences. And I think for me, what helped me be so vulnerable um, was to know that I wasn't alone and that my feelings were valid, like the good and the bad, um, all of that was okay, and to have feelings is okay. And even if it might upset some people, that's also okay. I've
Yeah.
had to learn how to let go of like people being mad at me, because also I can't live my life for other people, and this is my story. um and also to that, it's like if people are upset, like they just should have done better, you know what I mean? So it's like that's my thing when it comes to that. But for me, it's been kind of, I've had to like practice being vulnerable. And I feel like knowing that I can somehow help other people through my story and show them that even though things get hard, even though you might be the underdog, even though you might be overlooked, you can still be successful. You can still do what you love to do. And you can still have a good sense of self. Just because someone says that you can't do something or you're not good enough doesn't mean that you are those things.
Right.
And in order for me to share that message, in order for me to connect with people, I had to share that side of myself. I had to be vulnerable and tell people how I felt. Because for so long I was so scared. I was so scared about what other people would think. And that's another reason why it took me so long to write the book as well.
Because what are people going to think about you telling the truth?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Because I'm not the kind of person, I don't like drama.
Mhm.
I really don't.
Mhm.
I don't ever want to hurt someone's feelings. I don't ever want to put someone on blast just to like, I'm not that kind of person. But at the same time, I was hiding so much of like myself
And
in.
they were hiding so much of your story as well.
Exactly. So I had to. And I had to just let go of that. So I think that was probably the hardest part for me. Um, was because I knew it might ruffle some feathers, but at the end of the day, it's my truth and it deserves to be told. So I would say like that's part of why I felt, it was hard to be vulnerable in those moments, because as a people pleaser, I don't ever want to do that. But also at the same time, I'm not. I'm telling people how it is, how I felt, what happened, and how I reacted. Um, and how I can overcome those instances, how I can become a better person, how I can learn from all this, because there's a lot to be learned from my story, and to be able to share it with people and at least be like a little, you know, give people a little bit of hope through whatever they're going through. It's all worth it, and it makes it all worth it.
Absolutely. I just want to let everybody know that in about 15-ish minutes, we're going to do Q&A. So as you're listening to us, if you have any questions, just get ready for that. Um, so I want to ask this question, and it's related to what you just shared. But what I saw on the show and what you talked about in your book for me that wasn't like explicitly named was that you really had to start setting boundaries, and you really had to start saying no and learning how to not allow people to project their experience onto you and for you to perform based on that projection. I'm wondering how you today are saying no and what you're saying no to. Obviously, you don't have to go like in detail, but like how you've learned to stand up for yourself, because you said you're a people pleaser. I think you're recovering.
Recovering.
Okay.
Recovering for sure. I mean, I can't. No,
Right.
Recovering for sure.
But like, how are you finally confident enough to say no? You talked about that a little bit here, but I wanted to talk about the boundaries, because I think if people watch you and they are fans of your work and watched you grow, I think that's the biggest change that I've seen as your story was shared through the book.
Yeah. It doesn't always come to this point, but I have had to cut people out of my life. I have quite a few, because we weren't on the same page about things. I didn't like the way that they talked to me. I didn't like how negative they were towards me. You know, I've had to do that, and it's hard, but it's something that I've had to do. Because sometimes you can't separate certain things and you need to do what's best for yourself. And sometimes those people come back into your life and sometimes they don't. But for me, something that has helped, because I've lived a lot of life. I don't know, I'm only 24, but I've lived a lot of life. And sometimes I think that that's the best option for me. And sometimes it's painful, but also I almost always feel better after doing it, because I don't take that kind of like decision lightly, because I always want to see the best in people. I give second chances, but at a certain point you can't just let people walk all over you, and that's something for me. It's like I don't let people walk all over me. That's a big no-no. So if people think that, because I think people mistake my kindness for weakness, and they think that they can do whatever or say whatever. But it's like, no, like if you say something, if you cross me, we're done. Like it just has to be that way. Also, because I believe that, not necessarily in this instance, but like I just believe that there's space, there's room for everyone. There's not a need to be nasty or mean-spirited towards someone. So for me, that's something that I've had to kind of do sometimes to protect my peace, and set that boundary. And I've had to do it. I haven't had to do it too much lately, but sometimes it's gotten to that point.
Yeah. I'm wondering, would you do Dance Moms again? And if your little girl wanted to do Dance Moms, would you be a version of that? Would you say yes to it, knowing what you know now on the other side? You have a platform, you have the good and the bad.
I honestly don't know. It would have to be a lot different. That's the thing. Like it would have to. Because when we started the show, we didn't really know what it was going to be. It was presented to us as a 6-week documentary. I think if we knew everything it entailed and what was going to happen, I don't know if we would have said yes to that. But I feel like, knowing what I know now, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would say no, but I'm also like, but no. Like if I had maybe a kid one day and they really wanted to do something, I feel like I'd probably help them do that, like my mom did. So I wouldn't say no, I wouldn't say never, but if I had a choice, I would do things my own way. I mean, I do behind the scenes stuff now, so I'm like, I would executive produce something, or I would have a say in certain things. It would be a less toxic environment, because there are ways to make sets less toxic. I've been on a lot of them that are not toxic at all. So I'm like, it's possible. So I just do it in a different way for sure.
Yeah, I was curious about that. I was reading because I know that there's so many fans of the show, and I know so many people dream of an experience like that. People watch reality television, people see people on TV, and I'm like, oh, that would be such an amazing idea, amazing opportunity. And it does create an amazing opportunity. But I was just curious if that's something that you had thought about.
People do ask me that from time to time. But for me, in reality TV, because I've seen it, I've witnessed it firsthand, I I think that it breeds bad behavior, and I think it encourages bad behavior.
I mean, you
So
could just
it's
say read the book now.
yeah, exactly. But I'm like, I just think it encourages bad behavior. So I'm not like a huge reality TV fan unless it's like a Dancing with the Stars or like So You Think You Can Dance, like those kinds of or like a cooking show or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I have a very interesting relationship with reality TV.
Yeah. Especially with kids.
Yes, especially with kids. Yeah.
So, one of my last questions that I had when I was reading was about self talk. I wanted to know how you were able to change yours because I'd have to imagine that your self talk was probably very confused growing up because of the pressure that was on all of you, especially you. And then not having your experience validated. Obviously, probably, it was validated through your family and through your parents, but it's when you grow up, you don't believe anything your parents say. It takes a while for you to start to catch up and say, oh, they really make sense, I believe them. You're looking for the outside world to validate it. So how is your self-talk today, and how have you changed it, and what was the process for that? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people in this room know they haven't been on Dance Moms, but they're dealing with negative self-talk. They're dealing with how to believe in themselves. It's the new year. People are trying to create new dreams and environments for themselves in their own lives. So what have you done that's been helpful for you?
Something for me, that's actually a good point. I think a lot of my friends also like tell me that like I am a pretty confident person. I don't know how that happened after like everything I went through, but I don't know. I feel like it's really important how we talk to ourselves. So I feel like the more good you put into yourself, the more you get out. It's like an energy thing, so if you water yourself, you're gonna grow, so make sure to, I know, be your biggest cheerleader. I've said that a few times, but be your biggest cheerleader. For me, something that has helped a lot with that is just like my community, who I keep around me. It's really important that you surround yourself with like-minded people, people who believe in you, people who don't talk that way about themselves. I think that it's really important to surround yourself with people who also believe in themselves and don't talk to themselves negatively, because it wears off on you and then you start doing it. It's really important. So I think for me is making sure that like you have a support group, but also just making sure that those people in that group also align with who you are and your values. I think I have some incredible friends. I have great family, but I also have really great friends that I surround myself with who are kind people, who are brilliant, who are hard workers, who think like me and who are ambitious like me, but then also know their worth. And I think it helps a lot surrounding yourself with people who are also happy. Not saying that you can't also go through hard times and stuff. You lean on your people and everything isn't always perfect, but I think it's really important who you surround yourself with, because it will affect you.
Yeah, this is my last question, and it's about Dance Moms. I think that again, watching the clips and going back through the show, I was just in awe of the way that you were able to withstand so much, and to find out through the book that what we watched was only like a small percentage of what you had to withstand was
Yeah.
really shocking. Um, I'm wondering, when you think back to the show and you think back to some of the moments, because I've always thought about this, when you're a Black child, we often don't get to be children in the same way.
Right.
We're very much aware of what's happening. And I could kind of see in like some of the scenes and things that you were aware of what was happening, and then you saw the other children completely unaware of what was
Yeah.
happening. And so I'm wondering how you navigate that today. I don't know if you watched the show back. I don't know if you had to watch the show back for this, because I'm sure a lot of things were out of your memory, but how do you navigate them still invalidating that experience, and having to come out and kind of do what we would call like a tell-all, like really tell the experience of what it was and how do you stand. I know you're standing your truth, but how do you stand in that still not being validated? Because that can be tough to
Yeah,
carry.
for sure. Well, I did have to go back and watch episodes of the show. Not just because I didn't remember, but because I remember one thing and what happened, what actually played out on television is different than how it went down. So that's part of it. So I'm like, I needed to know how the show played it out so that I know what the audience saw, what viewers watched. Because I'm like, if I'm just talking about this one instance and it's not what the people saw, they're like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? So I had to explain. And there were instances, and I talk about in the book that
Yeah.
that happened. Okay, wait, I'm losing my train of thought. What was one of the questions? Because I was like,
Give me the breath. I feel like you had a trauma.
I was like, wait, what are the questions?
How have you been navigating rewatch? Because it's
Just
in some ways,
rewatching and
it's
people not
re-traumatization.
validating. Yes, yeah.
It's the whole experience of having to talk about it again can be re-traumatizing.
Yeah. It is traumatizing sometimes because sometimes there have been instances where I've told my side of things and people will still come up to me and they're like, I love so and so, and I'm like, okay, and they're like, they're great and they were just doing that because they loved you. And I'm like, I don't know about that. And then they like double down on it. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to be done with this conversation because I cannot get into it. So it does happen sometimes, and it is like very triggering when people do that. Because there's gonna be Abby fans. Like there's always gonna be Abby fans, and I'm also not trying to like sway people or like make people, like
you didn't do that in the book
yeah,
at all.
I'm like, that's not the point of the book. The point is literally just to tell my story and what I went through. So people can think whatever they want to think. But for me, it is really hard whenever people like try to make me think and not believe my own story.
Right.
I'm like, you guys weren't there. Like this is and also everything that I have in the book is stuff that has been documented, is stuff that has been on the show.
And that was why I asked the question specifically when you said you guys had this one experience of it, but you weren't there. When I was watching it, it seemed like even the people that were there were not experiencing what you were experiencing.
Right, yeah.
So when you're around a group of people and you're saying, hey, this is happening, but no one is validating it because they don't understand it or they're not.
Of course.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because my mom and I would say things like, oh, like it's not going to be the same for me, like I'm not going to get this part just by the way I look, and people are like, well, if she worked hard enough or if she was good enough, she would have got. It's like, no, at 9-10 years old, I knew that when we auditioned for this one music video to be this girl's mini me, this girl was a blonde lady. Like, I'm not gonna,
Right.
I'm not gonna get it. Like,
Right.
I knew that at 10 years old, but I know like other girls would be like, oh, it's all, everyone can do it. I'm like, no, not everyone can do it.
Right.
This opportunity was not meant for me, So I think that, so yes, even at like a young age, and people do ask me that a lot. They're like, well, did you know this stuff was happening? Or like, could you see it more now that you're an adult? And I'm like, I always saw it happening. Like I always kind of knew what was happening, even if I didn't fully understand. And when my mom would get upset about some of the things that Abby would say, and did, and sometimes like I would I would understand it. I would understand why she was mad to a certain extent, maybe not like the full thing, but I would understand why. And I think a lot of people don't recognize that, or they don't realize that. It's like they see it and they're like, oh, it's so funny. And like, even I'm sure other cast members were like, it went over their heads, but now looking back, I'm sure they're horrified.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, it's something that I've always been aware of, especially being the only one. You stick out, you fly under the radar, but also you're very, you stick out. So it's something that I've always just dealt with. And again, I think like a lot of Black children, they know.
Yeah.
They know.
It's a shared experience.
It's a shared experience.
Absolutely. I think we are ready for Q&A.
Perfect.
So if there's a microphone right here, if you have a question, you can come up to the microphone and you can ask it. And I would suggest lining up. right back there. All right, we're going to start the Q&A.
I am so sorry. I won't. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry, Nia.
Oh, you're good.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I just want to let everybody know, I know that you've all lined up. We're going to try to do as many as possible, but we might not be able to do everyone. So just thank you in advance and apologies in advance as well. You can go ahead.
Is it on? Okay.
Yes.
Hi, avid reader, longtime fan. I grew up. You taught me that your role model necessarily doesn't have to be somebody older than you. You're a few years younger than me, and I've always looked up to you. What is the biggest piece of advice that you can give to little Black girls growing up in white suburbia?
Ooh, that's a great question. Well, for me, something that I always take with me is to know your worth. That's one. Always know your worth, but also star in your own life.
We
There's
listened to it in the car on the way.
Thank you. But it's so true. It's a good message. Don't let anyone tell you that you're not special or that you're not deserving of things or have them outshine you. Like you're the star in your own life. No one else gets to be that role because it's reserved for you.
Thank you.
Of course.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jada.
Hi,
I'm
Jada.
here with my other friends. We're all senior dance majors at Howard University.
Oh,
so-
that's amazing. Congrats.
Yes, thank you. So we're definitely all navigating the dance industry and the dance world, what it looks for us, what it looks like for us. I was thinking back to the piece "Good Help is Hard to Find" and that overall dynamic, and then also thinking back to the episode about casting for Rosa Parks and why it matters who plays that role and etc. And even back to Good Help, it's hard to find that conversation with the moms and trying to figure out what racism looks like in current U.S. America, even though it doesn't exist, etc. So do you think the moms or even the other girls were actually trying to understand your perspective as a Black dancer?
Personally, I can't answer that, because I'm not them. I mean, I would say one of my good friends, Chloe, like she wrote the foreword to my book. I feel like she there's been many times where she has come to me as an adult and it's like, I can't believe this happened, or I will say I do think some people definitely are. I can't speak for everyone though. Yeah, I hope so. That would be my hope, especially with this book. I really hope that people learn and do better. That's all I can ask from them, honestly.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Hi.
Hi, my name is Lucy. I'm 10 years old. And you really encouraged me because I also do dance. So, you just make me more confident in dance and everything, like reading your book and then watching dance moms over again.
Thank you, sweetie. Oh, you just came to say that. Thank you. She said no follow-up questions. Thank you. Lucy, right? Thank you, Lucy. I appreciate it.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. My name's Moya. I'm the same age as you. We're actually 2 months apart.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
August 2001.
Oh, look at us.
Ever since the show started, I just want to say I watched you my whole life growing up. We basically have the same story. Obviously, the only difference is that we're a different race, but I can still relate to what you went through on the show. I may not be Black, but it doesn't matter because we all go through the same things. Or different things, but ours is very similar. You're the reason why I just kept going forward in life. Honestly, I just didn't want to go through life anymore, being ostracized, being the sacrificial lamb, people taking advantage of your kindness, making you oh, well, that makes you weak. Watching you, it just made me keep going, and I didn't want to be kind anymore because I'm well, it doesn't matter. People will just continue to step on me. But then I realized, you know what? It doesn't matter. You can't control people, like you said. So basically, just my question is, how did you control your narrative, and how did you control your thought process of well, even though I was ostracized all the time, how did you keep it positive and not let it affect your life moving forward. If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. I think for me, something that always kind of kept me going is knowing that I did have people rooting for me and I did have people in my corner. Like, yes, I have my family, but I also knew that um for me, especially like as a little Black girl being on this reality show with a lot of other little Black girls watching her, that I wasn't there to, I didn't want to be kicked off or pushed out of the way out of a great opportunity. You know what I mean? I wanted to show people that I deserved to be there. Um, and I think that especially for you, you were saying that you felt ostracized, you felt like overlooked, and people were not nice to you, and it made you want to be more cynical, and you wanted to be more mean. But I think that for me, staying true to myself and knowing that things were always going to work out, it helped to keep me going. And I didn't really have control over my narrative, which can be really frustrating and really hard. But at the same time, I knew also, I have faith as well. So I knew that I have a plan. God has a plan for me. So for me, that always helped. But also, I think that just remembering why you started, remembering why you're there, it can be hard sometimes. It can be so lonely. But at the same time, you have so much power. And I feel like letting people steal your joy is them taking your power away. Joy is, I say it's like an act of resistance, and so it's important to keep your joy, because people will try and take that away from you. So keep that always.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say one more thing. Because of you is why I changed who I am as a person, because I realized
that's so sweet.
I realized that being cynical and being pessimistic, I didn't want to live my life like that. So I just used your example with the grace and poise that you showed on the show and basically throughout your life. I took that as inspiration, and I applied it to my life. And my husband is right there, and I just got married, so I took that grace and poise.
Congratulations!
I took that grace and poise, and I applied it to my future. So I just wanted to say thank you so much.
Of course, thank you for sharing. I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, Nia.
Hi.
My name is Mackenzie. I'm 19. I'm a former dancer and writer, and I was wondering, what was the process like of writing a book, and like, what would you recommend to someone who wants to write a book, and do you have any more stories to tell?
Ooh, well. Well, here's the thing. I feel like I could genuinely write several books off of my experience on Dance Mom. So that's, I could probably write a few more of those. But advice for people wanting to write a book. Okay. Well, I would say one thing, being vulnerable is your superpower. So making sure that you're really honest with yourself, I think that's really important. And just start writing, because it's really scary and it's really daunting, and you're like, oh, it's a whole book, but it's good, and you got to start somewhere.
Okay, thank you. Also,
Thank
I love
you.
your ring.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Mackenzie. Appreciate it. Hi, I love your hat.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hi, Nia. I want to say, you're so strong and so beautiful. I love you so much.
Thank you.
I just have a question. Going into 2026, I am a people pleaser. So, what is your like advice for getting like rid of it?
Okay, that's a good question.
Sorry.
I feel like you just kind of have to practice it, for sure. I think that for me, it's important to still be kind to others and be compassionate and care and be empathetic. Like, those things are still good. But I think you just have to set better boundaries, and that's part of it. You can be all those things. You can still be yourself. You don't have to be mean or cruel or like change yourself, because that's just who you are. But being a people pleaser is like you let people kind of take advantage of you, and you do things even if you don't necessarily want to do it, and sometimes it's damaging to your mental health. So I'd say make better boundaries, whether that's no, I'm not doing it. I love saying no. I say it a lot now. So, and you can ask yourself those really like personal questions, but I would say to just make those boundaries. It helps.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Nia.
of course.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm a big fan of the book. My name is Elise.
Hi, Elise. Thank you.
I just wanted to ask you, it was really interesting hearing you talk about this in the book, your educational journey, like
Yeah.
what that was like, and like going through that on set, and then also having to prioritize that. I was wondering if you could just talk about like how you and your mom had to advocate for your educational journey, especially when that was something that was so weaponized, is how educated your mom was.
Right.
So just like what that journey was like for you, and maybe like the struggle that you guys faced really prioritizing your education.
Yeah. Well, I come from a family who was very well educated, like everyone in my family. So it was always super important to me. And even after like the show, it was like my decision to go to college and get a degree, and like that was very important to me. My education always came first. So the fact that on the show it wasn't a priority, wasn't taken as seriously, and we really had to like fight for tutors, fight for enough time, more time with the tutor to finish our homework. It's hard. And also people weaponizing my mom's education. I mean, I think that's like a whole nother discussion, but yeah, exactly. And I think that for her, that was her biggest superpower for sure, being educated. A lot of people were scared of that. They were intimidated by that, and I think that's what definitely set her apart from some people. And I don't think people like that she was educated and she was smart and she knew things and she knew how to handle herself in certain situations. So if anything, I think it shows, I feel like it's a good example to people why it's good to be educated, so that, people how to respond, and you don't let people just say whatever. You have that knowledge, and no one can take that away from you.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Hi, my name's Ida.
Hi, Ida.
Big fan of the book and the show, so congratulations.
Thank you.
I was wondering, what was one of your favorite memories from your time on Dance Moms?
Ooh, I would say one of my favorite memories would probably be when I started like my music journey. I feel like it was one of the hardest times for me, but when I was doing that, when I was like filming my music video or like performing live, like that was the best. I enjoyed all of those moments because they felt truly like mine, and was like a time where I really got to shine and get to be the star, which wasn't usually the norm. I was like back left corner, So it was nice to have moments where I could see myself in that light.
Thanks.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Hello, how are you? My name is
How are
Jordan.
you? Hi, Jordan.
My question is similar to Mackenzie's about writing. I know you said to just start, but how did you start? And like, what was your process?
Ooh,
that is a good question.
Yeah. Well, for me, I had to figure out exactly what I wanted to write about, because I had a lot. I had a lot of stuff. And I was like, we can get into a lot of different things. But for me, I knew that I wanted to tell my story, but I didn't want it to be a sob story. I didn't want it to feel sad. And I see videos saying like, I cried reading Nia's book. I'm like, okay, that wasn't like the intention. So I'm sorry you guys are crying, but that I had a vision of like what I kind of wanted to say, and what areas I wanted to go into. So for me, I wouldn't just wait to write at like my computer. Like if I was just living my day-to-day life and I had an idea, I had a story that I remembered, I would write it down so I didn't forget. And that was really helpful. And then after I had like all of those kind of stories and things and topics I wanted to talk about, I was then able to kind of organize it. But I would say for me, I wanted to figure out exactly like what I wanted to say. I got like the chapter outlined, or like the chapter titles first, and figure out what I wanted to put in each chapter. I think it helped organize it a bit and make it a little less daunting.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. I appreciate
Of course, yeah.
Hi, Nia. My
Hi.
name is Tara. I just wanted to thank you for being here. It's an honor to hear you speak and be in your
of course,
presence.
thank you.
I just wanted to say you became part of so many of our childhoods, and your story and everything you went through, it's something that we'll never forget. And I was just wondering if there was a moment for you when the cameras were off and no one was watching. Was there a moment when you felt that like there was something that quietly shaped who you are as a person and then why it stuck with you?
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel like I'm an open book, so I feel like I put a lot of that in my book already. Maybe I should keep more things to myself. But I don't know. I don't know if it's quiet, but I think that for me, I just always kind of had this feeling where it was like it's just always gonna work out. And I'm like, I don't exactly know how it's gonna work out, but I just had a feeling. And I always I kept it in mind, like as long as I stay true to myself, like I'm gonna be okay. And and that's just kind of like what kept me going. I think part of it is because I have a great family, I have faith, so I have a really good, strong sense of self. So for me, I feel like just knowing that no matter what, I have my family and I have people to back me up and to pull me back up again in those times where I felt like I wasn't good enough.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Hi, Nia.
Hi.
My name's Drea, and I've watched
Drea.
you since you were 9 years old on Dance Moms.
Thank
I watched you on
you.
Bold and the Beautiful.
Oh, great.
I read your
Lovely.
book, and I'm truly a fan of yours, your mom's. Dance Moms, I lost because I did not like the way you were treated.
Mhm.
And I became a fan of yours because you were the underdog. I also danced as a child. I also did competitive dance as an adult and was the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also we have the same illness. I have complex regional pain syndrome.
Oh, wow.
So when I heard your first interview and you showed your little crown and said, "This is mine. I bought it because I want one, but I will get one."
Yeah.
And your mom said that you had complex regional pain syndrome. I was like, wow. You know, you inspired me then because I was just
that's so
starting
sweet.
my
Thank
journey
you.
in complex regional pain syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And you continue to inspire me. You inspired me when you did your dance to with Maya.
Thank you.
You inspired me with your dance with the Native American.
Thank
because
you.
I'm also part Native. And then you inspired me with the bus.
Oh, yes, the Rosa Parks.
Rosa
dance.
Parks.
Yeah.
You
Thank
inspired me with her. Just the dances and the things you did and your songs. And you are living your life. You are living in your own life now. And I love to see the woman that you have grown from the child that you grew into.
Thank you. Thank you. That is very sweet. I really do appreciate it. Thank you. I eventually did get that crown too, guys. I did. It wasn't filmed, but I did get it eventually. Hi.
Hi, my name is Stella. I'm 11 years old. I have a question about how does it feel like to be on a TV show that shares a lot of drama to the whole entire world?
Good question. It's crazy. It's really crazy because everyone has an opinion. Everyone has an opinion. And also not everyone sees the full story because, you know, they're telling one side of the story, you're not seeing the whole picture. So sometimes it would be frustrating, you know, having this drama, all this dirty laundry aired out, you know. But at the same time, I actually don't know. At the same time, it was just crazy. Yeah, I was like, at the same time, at the same time, like, it was okay. I was like, but maybe it wasn't. But yeah, I would say it was just a very wild journey, honestly. But I wouldn't change it. I learned a lot from it. And we had to always kind of be on, if that makes sense. Like because we were always filmed. So always having to watch what you said, how you kind of looked. Because, you know, any of those clips could be used against you or clipped and edited certain ways. So you had to be really careful about what you said.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Hi, Hi, Nia.
Hi.
I'm sorry, one
Tara.
second. I apologize. This is the last one, guys. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Sorry,
I'm
it's a
sorry.
good one, I think. Nia, thank you for writing this book. You are so
thank you.
smart and so beautiful and so talented, and I just want to thank you for sharing that with us. I am from Pittsburgh.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, Pittsburgh in the house.
I wanted to know, nobody throw tomatoes at me. When the Ravens played the Steelers the other day, did you do the death drop?
No. No, I didn't. But I was texting a lot of people. I'm like, oh yeah, the Steelers won. It was exciting. Did someone? No. A Steelers fan.
Thanks, Nia. Go Steelers.
Always. Go Steelers.
Okay, so we're doing a book signing right after? Okay, so I would stay in line. But thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you all so much. I'm excited to see and meet all of you guys and sign your books, but thank you all for being here. I really enjoyed talking to you all.